This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, good afternoon. It is 12:33. This is the meeting of the Southampton Senior Center Building Committee. It is Thursday, February 13th, 2025. Welcome, everyone. We have a guest with us who's put an application in, but we'll just, other than, we have that on the agenda. So any other comments from the public? I don't see anybody else here publicly. Okay, so we'll do the approval of minutes. Thank you, Darcy. See, it's contagious. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. I feel better now.
Okay, I just did that for you. Any motion to approve?
There are two sets of minutes, right? We did not approve meeting minute number 22
Okay.
at the last meeting because the...
We ran out of time. Yeah, okay.
So there's meeting number 22.
And meeting number 23. Okay.
23.
Yeah, that's right, we didn't get out of.
Right.
So, motion for meeting 22, approval minutes,
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from number 22.
meeting number 22, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, that's either Dennis or Darcy, so Ted, okay, you made the motion. We have to do a voice vote because Libby's remote, so Jerry?
Aye.
Darcy?
Darcy, aye.
Ted, aye.
Yes, you are.
She's not?
Yes, you are. No, you're a voting member.
Okay.
As far as I knew. Okay, never mind, we'll pass over you then. But I think you are.
Kate, aye.
Dennis, aye.
Janet, aye. Okay. Meeting 23.
Make a motion to pass.
That's the one with the planner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the,
Make a motion to pass meeting minutes number 23.
Darcy makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dennis gets that one. All in favor, around the table again, starting with Jerry.
Jerry, aye.
Darcy, aye.
Ted, aye.
Chris, aye.
Kate, aye.
Dennis, aye.
Janet, aye. Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, Libby?
Yeah.
You approve your own minutes? Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
22 and 23, of course you do. Okay.
With some help in there. by certain-
Minor help. I should have somebody do mine for the housing. So the next thing on the agenda is the volunteer application. So Dennis reached out to Carl and invited him to join us and to,
Your wife, I reached out to.
oh, okay.
He was
I was
around.
downstairs or outside Snowball, I don't know.
So Carl, you want to introduce yourself to the group?
My name's Carl Couchet, graduated from Smith Oak, spent 4 years in the Army, all carpentry. Been carpentry all my life. Worked for the town of Montague, carpenter. Got licensed with the state, held that for over 10 years. Built houses. Done about everything.
Okay. Any questions from the group? Do you have any experience with any commercial building at all? Or is
Yeah.
it?
I was
Yeah.
actually the clerk of the works when they were doing some remodeling in the town.
Okay.
That's why I had to get licensed with the state.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I got all the code book, the older one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you comfortable going through the newer one?
I've been tempted for the last couple of years of ordering a new set of codes to see what's going on, what's changed over life. A lot of it has changed too.
Or
I try to
maybe
keep
our
up with stuff. Is that what I'm
building
saying?
commissioner
Try to
can
keep
help.
up with codes and stuff, because I'm forever doing something wrong.
Because that's kind of an area that we don't have a lot of experience on
Right.
right now. So, any other questions from the group? And you're comfortable with subcommittees, so we meet a couple times a month.
Yeah.
We have
Belong to a lot of
subcommittees.
clubs. I used to be president of one. And stuff like that, so.
Good.
Cooking.
Okay, so you're volunteering to be a chef in the senior center?
Be careful.
15
Be careful what you say.
And how do you feel about a future senior center?
Looking forward to it.
Okay.
My wife and I belong to the one in Turner's, Montague, it was in an old building. They ramped it and everything, but they didn't have much going on, and it was crowded. a little bit less space than this place has.
Okay.
So we didn't go there much. It's been interesting. We moved here, and we come down here, and we said, whoa, nice place to be.
Just wish it was bigger.
Except for me.
Except for Kate, yes.
No, she's great. She's great. Don't welcome us in.
While you were clerk of the works, what type of buildings did they do?
The town public building, right?
Buildings.
Yeah. Which was the town hall.
Yeah, okay.
I even was in charge of the generator, emergency generator of the PD, which was right in the basement. And I looked at them, I said, when do you run that? And they said, we run it once a week. I said, when do you test it? Well, we run it once a week. I said, no. When do you test it? It has to be tested under distress.
Yeah.
Oh, never done it. We just fired it up and let it run 10 minutes and shut it off. So I shut it off one day on them. They weren't appreciative of that. Computers.
I'm sure.
I said, it's mandatory. You guys are supposed to stress this thing. Make sure it works.
Jen, question.
Yeah.
Is this committee going to continue on once we have, assuming we can go through town meeting and get the OPM and the architect, is this committee going to be it, or are we forming a new committee to follow the next phase? Because I think that's part of what's being discussed in public safety right now. They're feeling like they might branch off some members to be the new committee going forward to talk to architects and understand the same language. So I don't know if we've gotten to that point yet, but I think we have to have some discussion about that at some point in time, and maybe it's not right now, but just to think about what may happen. And I wish Scott just texted me, he's got a doctor's appointment, he's not here, so
Okay.
can't fill you in much on that. Sorry about that. But I know me for one, I looked at the feasibility report many times, but I can't pretend to understand it. And I know I've sat in on the Public Safety Building Committee, and we've had various architectural drawings of that, or not quite architectural, but the layout of it. And it's, everything from, figuring out the HVAC and where that's going to go, and the square footage of X numbers of rooms and whatever. It's been a very intensive process. And I wasn't part of this committee, last version of it.
The separate committee, the feasibility committee. Yeah, so we've kind of made that one-time transition.
You already became a transition committee, but public safety, I think they've been the same committee, well, they've reformed obviously, but I mean, they've been the same committee wearing a couple hats all along. So anyway, just to point that out, just to fill you in on where public safety.
So the new committee would just be more technical.
Yeah.
So I guess this is just an initial reaction, is that the reason we hire an OPM is to do a lot of the RFP, the hiring of the architect, interpretation of a lot of information. So I guess we, until we know if we get approval to hire an OPM, we'll determine. But I guess, I don't know what other people thought about reforming. I thought, my initial thought, unless we don't have what we need on this group, is that we've had openings and we haven't had people step up with the architectural experience. So, this was going to be the building committee, so, and we can change that as people feel.
No, that's fine, I just wanted to.
No, I appreciate that.
On the other side of the aisle.
And what do other people,
That was my understanding, was the same as yours.
Yeah.
That we went from the feasibility study to then forming the building committee to move forward.
I agree with Janet. I mean, I assume this was the building committee, to carry it through the construction. But, we can see what happens.
Yep. Kate?
I feel like if anything, like whether or not it's a subcommittee from this, I feel like it would expand a little bit too, because especially with the fundraising component, looping them in terms of how things go. So it's not so two-sided once the Friends group decides what they want to do. I view this as more of an evolving committee as opposed to like a separate stage-wise thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think some of the folks on this committee are on the Friends that will be involved in some of those fundraising discussions, and can come back and kind of report in to our committee if that's still moving forward. Yes. So, I mean, that's kind of my understanding. So, but it is kind of an evolving committee, and if people feel that they can't contribute, or they think there's room. But again, we've had openings, we expanded the committee, we've been searching for architects, and no one has stepped up. So fortunately, we had an architect on the original feasibility committee, which works as a good resource
Right.
for me when I have a question.
For us,
that I can't, so to bring back to you guys. And I'm sure, unless, of course, he's involved with an RFP, then he wouldn't be involved with us on an
Right.
informal basis. So,
Right.
so anyway, but thanks, Chris. I mean, anybody else thoughts?
Just a question. So is there one vacancy on the committee, or was it increased to include
It was-
additional people?
It was increased
In
by
October.
2. I came back
You came back, okay. got
because
it.
of the knowledge that I have from the whole process.
Okay.
And then Carl's
Okay.
stepping up to interested in the second final spot. But then there would be no room for an architect if somebody came forward. But I know it's been promoted pretty heavily. And but if somebody comes up and says, I really want to, be on this committee and I have this background that's amazing, I'm happy to step off and let them.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
We'll make space.
Yeah,
They're gonna have Alicia.
it's around my throat. Hi, Cindy. Can you give me the spelling of, because we have, as a guest,
Oh, St. George?
St. George?
As in usually ST period?
Yep, George. Okay, so Libby, who's our minutes person, is, up there.
Up there.
Is taking notes. So we have a guest by the name of Cindy St. George.
Or Cynthia.
Or Cynthia. Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you. Any other questions?
Any open, sorry, is any discussion for the open time for the public from Cindy?
Well, we kind of are past that already,
Okay,
for now, so.
gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
We have other topics at the end of the meeting, so, but we're already past the open time for the public, so. So, do we need any more discussion on Mr. Kushai?
Deals with capital.
Kushai?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've 2 years of saying Cushy, so now I've been saying it wrong all this time.
Well,
so-
like I said, we answered everything like that because nobody knows how to pronounce it. So I just tell
Right, okay.
everybody, they look at me and say, how do you spell your last name? I said, say sushi, but put K in front of it instead.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve Mr. Couchet as a Couchai?
Couchai,
Sushi?
but you
Sushi?
think-
Sushi?
My
Sushi?
great-grandfather was, my great-uncle was
Nice.
called Father Couchet.
Couchet.
Truth be known, he was a priest.
Okay.
And he wasn't spelled like that, but it was my grandfather's brother.
Okay. A motion to
Couchet.
approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Seconded.
Second by
Who was
Ted. Dennis
Dennis.
said yes. Ted said second. We'll go around for a voice vote.
I'm sorry. Who made the motion?
Dennis.
Dennis did, okay.
Okay.
And who seconded?
Ted,
Thank you.
when are you coming back? No.
And, sorry, this is, I know the payment.
No, you're not at all. Okay, Jerry, starting with you.
Jerry, aye.
Darcy, I.
Ted, aye.
Chris, aye.
Kate, aye.
Dennis, aye.
Janet, I. Okay. Welcome. Libby,
Libby, aye.
I. Libby,
I
I.
have one
Sorry.
other question.
Yes.
That's all right. So we decide, or does the?
Well, the select board, we decide to move it forward to the select board. It's up to them to vote. Yes, this is just to move it forward to the select board for approval. Yes.
And thank you for stepping forward.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Like I said, I was involved with a lot of stuff. When I worked at Stoneleigh, they built a brand new science building, and we toured it with my boss. It was built separate from the main building, and I looked at him and I says, how are you gonna clean this building? They said, why? I said, you don't have a janitor's closet anywhere in 4 floors.
We're gonna need a
We
lot
will
of
have
closets.
Janet.
We will
That's
definitely
in
have.
the plan, if
It
you've
all
seen the
depends on what your
feasibility
plans
studies.
are. Like I said, since I got the ball carrier, I said, I gotta know what they're looking at, how big they're looking at. I have brains up here that keep scattering when I wake up in the morning. I'm usually up at 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. And thinking about this place, I said, we're gonna be alive. I hope my wife and I are alive to see this happen.
Ditto.
See
We
it.
got, it's a consensus around the table.
So.
We don't have to worry about Kate.
I'll just say ditto.
She'll be eligible for it by the time it's
It'll be
built.
your place.
Yeah, it starts here. It starts here.
Yes.
Okay, update, I don't know, Darcy and Kate, who are representing us with the planning group for the workshop, if you
Have
have.
a meeting scheduled, so that'll be our first meeting.
Okay.
So, no real updates.
Yeah, on Tuesday, they're sending our materials tomorrow
Okay.
for the meeting on Tuesday afternoon, so. But
So, we did see their, the document, right?
Yep.
That's been posted. So my question is kind of, why does it say Zero College Highway? Does anybody know that?
I don't know.
Why'd you say what?
Zero College Highway, which is not really, that means it hasn't got numbers assigned to it yet, so it should be 117 to 125, so, I mean, I don't know any reason for it,
Across the
but,
street, 111, the apartment complex there? Or one,
Which-
had the fire, the one that had the fire.
Yeah, that's diagonally across the
Just
street.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
down the road a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
We can certainly
So
address that.
Darcy and Kate met with them?
they haven't met yet. Do you know the date of your meeting?
The 18th
The 18th, so
Yep.
they're meeting on the 18th?
at 2 PM.
And the topic of that is,
It's our first meeting getting together with the various committees.
Okay.
That'll be present, so I'm assuming Public Safety Complex, us, housing representatives. I'm not sure who else is on here.
So at the housing meeting, because Sierra and Ann
Sierra's on
both
here.
went to the abutters meeting. Did anybody, I
did.
kind of meant to
Oh,
go.
they did the Butters meeting?
Yeah, there was an abutters meeting.
Yeah, I
did anyone show up?
that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think people were there because there was some feedback with some concerns about the abutters. Did you go, Chris, or?
No, it's
No. Yeah. I think it was an open meeting with the abutters, I thought, but,
The abutters were invited by postcard and knocking on
Right.
doors and whatever, so
Yeah.
the businesses across the street and the abutters right in that immediate area were invited. I don't think it was a Zoom meeting.
yeah, was it?
Yeah, I didn't.
So I
even
just know
notice
that I guess the one thing was the concern from the residents on Lynn Drive that it would turn into a thorough street instead of a dead end, so there was some concern about that, so. And it was kind of like, not surprisingly, it's kind of like, yeah, we need it, but maybe not in my backyard, so. You know.
Well, I mean, I got the impression that it wasn't overly well attended, honestly.
No, okay. Maybe there were a couple of loud voices.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it was more, I think, as with the meeting that we all attended with the architect people, Dodson and Plunkett, you know, they were trying to pull out people's visions, I think, of, you know, what they thought this place could be. And I think that message is a challenging one because people aren't into visioning, thinking,
Right.
imagining mode. They're more into
What are you giving me?
what's
sort of.
what's going to happen to me and my property kind of thing. It's a little bit less.
Can you hear that okay, Libby?
I'm sorry. I think it's just not. Even the other day when we had our meeting, it took a while to get the message across as to what they were looking for to pull out of us. You know? So I'm kind of thinking that on a Zoom that would have been even harder to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but at least they made the effort. I know there were these little red postcards that got mailed out and all the area right around that area, at least from what I was told, were notified. So,
Okay.
but yeah.
Because I know when they had the zoning meeting when it was going to be a condo development, there were a lot of people that came to the zoning board meeting, but yeah, Zoom meeting is maybe a little bit different. And of course, the public workshop is February 27th from 6 to 8:30. And I guess maybe we'll learn a little bit more about what they envision that to look like, or when you guys meet together.
Yeah, so we had the COA board meeting, I had mentioned this to Chris too, I'm hoping that we can also do a small subsection at the senior center, similar to what we did with the feasibility committee. 6 o'clock is really late driving
Yeah,
at night in the
yeah.
winter for a lot of our folks, and if it's gonna be a senior center component to it, just having a little bit earlier in the day would be great. So
Yeah.
I plan on bringing that up, but outside of that,
And I'm assuming it's going to be recorded by East Hampton Media as well, so if nothing else, if we can at least,
Some of it will be, I think, but I think
Okay.
it's going to be a challenge because number one, it's slated for 2.5 hours. So recorded maybe, but live, I'm not sure.
okay.
So recorded and then be able to be replayed, probably, yes. But I don't know if they do the entire meeting because what I've gathered from this is that it's going to be much more interactive and small group work, and it's not going to be like a big community meeting like we've had in the past. So it's going to be little groups all over the place, and I'm not quite
Okay.
sure how East Hampton Media would organize the film
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
all
was
makes sense. That
wondering
makes
that.
you know,
sense.
and capture the conversation.
maps
I don't
all over
really
the
know.
place and stuff, yeah.
They're on standby, to if we need them, but I haven't had a chance to talk to Scott about what the Dodson and Flinker people are talking about. So I think when you guys meet on the 18th, that ought to be ironed out a little bit more clearly. And I have mentioned to Scott about a separate session for the seniors.
Okay.
I doubt they would do it the same day,
No.
but you know, and it would, yeah, I don't know what they would do.
Okay.
But it's been raised with Scott at least.
This meeting on the 27th, is that the one where they're going to bring some models to
Yes.
move around? Is that right? They're gonna
Yeah,
have a schematic of the property and get
Right.
people's ideas about putting this here. that.
right. That's what I gathered from what little I've.
I think-
There are other ideas that maybe we haven't thought of even.
Right.
Yeah.
At the general council meeting, you brought up, you made a comment when we talked about, we were the first with Dotson and Flinker, and then you saw a bunch of other
Setting on the
Setting.
committees, yeah.
And the different, we sort of was talking about having it backward, toward the
Set
back
back
of
a
the
bit,
property, and so bucolic and stuff like that, and Chris was saying, not everyone had that kind of view.
Well, public safety definitely wants it close to the highway. I mean, they
Yeah.
want to be able to
Their-
pull out
That
and
point of
get
view
out.
about a
Yeah,
senior
that makes
center, or
sense.
just that point of view, when you say that point of view?
Well, I was just wondering, you're meeting with all these different groups, and I just wondered how diverse that went. If I'm Dotson and Flinker, what am I taking back? Well, yeah, that would make sense with the.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there were any conclusions made. They were just
Yeah.
hearing what people had to say, and I was
Right.
reflecting how different it was from, coming from the
The
first one to
views,
the second
yeah.
one was, very definitive, no, this is our footprint, we need to be here. And it was
Which makes perfect sense for
totally
public
clear.
safety.
It
Yeah,
does,
right.
it does.
And then others that were there, I mean, housing was there, who was, the other meeting was, Housing Greenway and,
Parks and Rec.
Huh?
Was Parks and Rec.
Parks wasn't there.
Was cemetery there?
Cemetery wasn't there either, but they have put in a request. Cemetery would like 2 acres for their expansion. So yeah, I mean, they should be there, coming forward. I mean, I'm assuming at the 27th.
So we don't want the
meeting.
cemetery right next to the senior center,
No, well, it's kind of convenient.
I don't know.
Senior housing, senior center, and cemetery.
But anyway,
Or the lawyer's office.
all of these interested parties, what I understand, are supposed to have at least a member, if not 2, to be part of this internal working group, which you guys are going to go to next week. So that's about as all I know of it. So yeah, there's various interests.
Yeah, yeah.
This is part of the process. It's like, what really makes
We
sense?
expected it,
So yeah,
Did you go to the last meeting with the other small groups? You did.
that was the one with
Yeah.
it was just Greenway and housing.
And
were there.
housing, did housing have a sense of where they wanted, they give them any
Kind
input?
of toward the back, I mean,
Okay.
kind of like what we've been thinking a little bit, I think, in the sort of the back, maybe that right-hand side a little bit. I mean, somewhere where they would have access to other facilities, obviously, but I mean, no, nothing definitive really, I
Okay.
think there. I mean, they were just talking about, what was going to be possible, and for them, I think they were concerned about whether or not septic could possibly, not septic, sewer could possibly be, a reality, because they weren't sure how many units they could work with if sewer was not a reality.
Okay.
Is sewer a committee in town? Is there a group that is working on it?
There's a study that's been done through Ty and Bond, railway sewer feasibility study has been done by Ty and Bond.
Okay,
And the idea came up, so Stephen Johnson's been involved with that, and Scott, and a couple of other people. And that started because East Hampton's rail trail,
yeah.
their sewer line, I'm forgetting if it's actually under the trail, it might be under the trail, or parallel to it. So the idea was to see, as we're building our Greenway bike trail now,
Right.
that we've been working in terms of designing for a few
30
years now.
30 years.
That, as we're working on that, could there possibly be a connection into East Hampton, so that it would connect at the cutoff at Coleman Road,
Yeah,
and connect on down as far as we can, right on down to this area.
yeah.
So the feasibility study has been done, shows everything is feasible. I mean, the cost is ridiculous, of
Like
course.
20 million?
Yeah. So,
Isn't everything?
put about 5
Just
projects
started
together that are
from-
$20 million.
I know.
We got a challenge. So, there's got to be a next phase to that study, and I don't think it's started yet. So-
Okay,
But there's, trying to work in parallel, so that if we're going
Right.
to dig up
Yeah.
something, and we might think about a sewer, what's possibly doable, I don't know. So,
Or maybe if we do a phase one and then the expansion of
I mean, I
housing,
think-
for
I
example.
would think
maybe-
things would have to be in phases
Phases.
somehow.
Yeah.
I can't
Was the
imagine.
20 million just to bring it down the
But with
bike
finding
path, or
with
was that
sewer,
spreading
you
it out
think
throughout?
Well, we'd
figure
have
that
to
in
have
with
a
the
pumping station. down
stage
there.
one of it to connect if you're gonna have housing there instead of putting in septic.
Yeah, but
And then-
that would, yeah, it depends on,
Yeah, well, that's the whole
That's gonna
thing,
be
you
all-
gotta think in conjunction, like,
Yeah.
not to bring up a lot, but Hadley did the same thing with Route 9 reconstruction. They turned around and rebuilt all their pipelines. Well, that state dug it up, they didn't have to pay for it.
that's a good deal.
Yeah, so this would pretty much follow the bike trail as much as it can.
It would, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else on the public workshop? Just to hopefully, you think everybody planning on attending? Yeah, we don't need to
Yeah.
post a meeting, right? It's just so we're not going to
No.
organize as a
No.
group or anything,
Yeah.
so, okay. I just want
It's
to
a
make
public
sure.
meeting, everybody come?
Yep, we're public. Okay, so I guess I was hoping Scott was gonna be here because of the articles. Do you have any updates on those? Because I've heard a couple different things. Initially, we were gonna share an OPM, and then Scott kind of alluded to having two separate OPMs, and I don't know,
I have not heard that.
okay.
I have not heard that. So to my knowledge, we're still going with the notion of one OPM and two architects.
Okay,
There's been no article written yet. We have got a date in mind, at least, for the special town meeting, which is now March 22nd,
Okay.
which is a...
I'm sorry, March 2nd.
March 22nd. March 22nd.
22nd, it's
For
a
the
Saturday
special
morning.
town meeting.
It's a Saturday morning, so for a special town meeting, we can have a different day rather than a Tuesday night, which we usually do. So Saturday morning at the school at 10 o'clock is the plan right now. And that all depends on a couple of things.
Oh,
but,
not racing.
School's available, and we're really waiting a lot on the architects from the Public Safety Committee to get us some reduced
Footage,
figures,
yeah.
so we know how much we can even talk about. But, I mean, we've had in our heads somewhere around 3 million is what we're talking about for the combined OPM and the two architects.
Yeah, because I did talk to Andrew, the architect that was on the feasibility study on Monday, and he kind of explained to me, you know, the OPM helps you to develop the RFP and then works to hire the architect in conjunction with the committee till you get to the design and build process. And his thought was both square footage or, you know, 10% of each for the OPM and the design firm. So it'd probably be about 1.2 times 2. So for us, so it's 10% for the,
For each half, really? Oh, well.
well,
Yeah.
for the architect is like
$2.5 million.
10% and the OPM would be about 10%. So I don't know how you do 10% of two projects because they kind of base the number on, you know, what's the total cost of the project, and then they take 10% of that. So depending on if that's 20 and we're, you know,
Yours is what, 12 now?
12, around town, 12, a little over 12. So that's 32 times 10%, so that's the OPM, period. So I don't know, so, and then it would be another 1.2 for the architects.
Yeah.
And the architect is definitely just our own architect, obviously.
What do you mean?
We're not sharing an architect.
No, we're not sharing an architect, different specialties and,
Yeah, we've talked about that.
yeah. So,
Yeah, and if, you know, I mean, if the Public Safety Committee, you know, if theirs is closer to, 25, it's easily 20. I'm sure it's easily 20. You know, that's gonna be
That's
even a
gonna-
bigger chunk of change. So
It's
I
gonna be
don't
a
know.
big ask.
I really don't know.
yeah.
So we're hoping to hear from them no later than March 3rd, which is why we had to push the special town meeting as much as we did, because we weren't getting anything any quicker.
And the regular town is the first week of May?
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
7th,
yeah,
I believe it
yeah.
is.
First Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah, so we'll keep you informed on that, but that's the date at least that's been kind of put out there. I think it'll be May 6th on the other one, sorry. Annual town. And as we, get closer to figuring out what our costs are, but, I mean, I guess if Scott's got the costs from you guys to know that.
I haven't, I thought I was gonna see him today,
Yeah.
so,
Well, email and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I was just curious if HCAM was coming up with the kind of the same formula, so.
Don't know. I mean, we've always had in our heads 10% of the cost. I don't think we had, at least I had never separated out 10% for the OPM and 10%.
10% the OPM, from what I've read in the communication with
Yeah.
Abacus, was 10% for the OPM,
Yeah.
period.
Okay. Yeah,
And then the architect
yeah,
above that.
yeah, okay. I think I've been putting them all together, quite honestly, so I don't know what Scott's been doing on that.
Okay. Does that sound right to you, Libby, being
Yes.
from your
Yeah.
background? So,
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing, I guess, for us is that if we estimate, then we have a little fund that we can kind of bring us up to cover the costs. But first obstacle is town meeting, second one is on the ballot, so, right? And that would be on the May ballot?
That would be the idea. I mean, we've got enough time to get it on the ballot, I think.
That's in like the third week or a couple Tuesdays after the special town meeting. Okay.
Yeah, Libby had a question?
Liv, did you?
Well, I'm just playing devil's advocate, wondering, so if we combine the OPM and we go in with this really high cost and it gets shot down, then would we go back and try to separate the OPM, because then there'd be two separate projects? I know we don't want to present it that way. We want to present it as a vision for that whole area, but something to think about. I guess we wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, so I'll share that with Scott as far as my discussion with Andrew and see, because I seemed like Abacus, they may bid on the project, so it's kind of hard for them to give me an estimate and then, kind of tip their hand, and so it was good to deal with a third party that wasn't involved at this point in time, so. Okay, and so the articles have to be done when? Is Scott working on the articles, or?
No, we're heavy into budget, sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, there's only so many bandwidth hours in a day. The article, the warrant has to be posted 2 weeks ahead of the meeting, so we've got to get them done. I think put out a call for articles, I believe.
So I didn't see that.
Yeah. I forget the dates.
Yeah, I wasn't on that email.
But
so.
certainly toward the end of the month, we've got to get all the articles ready. So we won't have, this coming select board meeting, we've got more budget hearings. Then we've got another one on the 25th, which is focused on budget as well, but it's going to be right around that time. We may have to have a special meeting just to vote on articles to put on the warrant.
Okay. And I know in the past, Ed would work with legal to kind of put the article together. Do we need to give him anything other than the numbers, basically, at this point in time?
I don't think so, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'm sure he's still going to have to, everything goes back through legal before it gets
Right.
put on the warrant.
Okay.
Because the draft warrant goes through legal, let's put it that way.
So if he needs anything else from us to let us
I think
know.
he would let you know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did see the email.
But Libby's question is an excellent one. So I guess for this meeting, it's like all or nothing. The warrant will probably be for the 10% cost for the OPM and 10% for each architect. Is that right?
Yes.
So they're going to be presented with that number. And then if that's voted down, then we have to wait and go back, and if we had to go back and just go for one building, that would happen next fall or something like that.
Well, we have the annual town meeting in May, right? So if it doesn't pass this one, we can try to put it on the May one.
We could go on the May meeting
Yep,
if it has to.
yep. So, well, I think we have to, the town will also have to decide what it wants to do, or the select board, what it wants to do moving forward and how to determine that, so. Okay, any other questions on that aspect? Okay. So, any other topic not on the agenda? Anybody have a topic that's not on the agenda?
I'll just bring up the 250th.
The 250th.
Are we still having the Underground Railroad on the 27th?
No,
too?
we're not.
Okay.
We've had to postpone the Underground Railroad chalked, unfortunately, on the 27th. That's been postponed to a later date.
TBD.
Maybe not until September.
Okay.
But we are doing Valentine's Music Bingo on Saturday night,
Saturday night.
rain or snow.
Come anytime between 4 and 7.
Paisanos in the back room, anytime between 4 and 7. Preferably come on the early side if it's going to snow, so come in that 4 to 5:30 time frame if you can. And we'll play a few games of bingo and then have a pizza or so and play some more games and then do what you feel like.
Get home
But, yeah,
safely.
it's just going to be a fun evening, so
Yeah.
just try to come closer to 4 o'clock if you can. Everybody's welcome.
I'll confess I was a sampler of the bingo, and
Oh, you were?
it is quite fun, yes.
Oh, good.
So I encourage everybody to come. A test free.
Yeah, this will definitely be amateur night. I mean,
This is not bingo from Wednesday afternoon.
no.
So we're not going to be
It's definitely
serious.
amateur
That's
night.
good. That's
Why not? Come
No,
on.
it's not.
She got specialty cards printed up
Right.
with all
So
the
that's,
songs on it.
that's the first thing for now. And then in April, just quickly, in March, there'll be 2 events. There's one on March 21st at the Country Club. We're having Southampton Trivia Night. And then on the 29th, there will be a hike, I think early in the morning over at Zipka property, followed by pancake breakfast at the church.
What day is that?
29th, which is a Saturday.
Yeah.
So the 21st and the 29th are 2 dates for March that are nailed down at the moment. We've got 2 musical events coming up, one at the Vineyard in June and another one at Conant Park in August. So we've got lots of stuff going on.
happening.
The things are up on the town website. There's a special page called Special Projects, actually. That in there, the railway study is there, but
Yeah.
also the 250th anniversary thing is there. There's a special Facebook page called Southampton 250th Anniversary, so those that are on Facebook can follow stuff there. And we'll be putting out today or tomorrow a whole list of merchandise. So we've got merchandise that we're going to be promoting, selling with the logo on it. Some of the logos will end up being more one color, 2 color. You've seen our logo that's very, very vivid in color. Maybe, I think everybody hopefully has seen it. If not, I'll throw up a picture. But it makes it, because it's so colorful, it's very hard to print cost effectively on,
Right.
a t-shirt, for example. So we'll probably nail down just a couple of colors to do some items, and then some items will have the full color on it. So that'll be out, and it's going to be a pre-order form so that we don't have lots of leftover stuff. People can send in a check or cash. Lucy's going to be the collector and organizer of that. And once we get a certain minimum of orders for the various items, we will kick off the actual production of that. So t-shirts, baseball cap, pint glass,
Coffee cup, metal coffee cup or something.
A tote bag, boat bag, yeah. Yeah. So that'll be up online very shortly, and I'll send it around to Kate, so you can throw it in the newsletter as well.
You got
Oh,
it.
no, it's a popular.
Did you already get it?
No, it's
No, okay, I was
yeah.
gonna say, yeah, you might have, but it probably
No,
wasn't in
it-
PDF form or some form you could
You
use.
can put it in your coffee cup.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, so that's going on. So yeah, this, if people hadn't seen it, this is the color logo I was talking about. So it's great, it's beautiful on all of our PR stuff, but I don't know if you can see any of that, Libby, probably not. Probably not. I'll
Let
send
me
it to
see
you.
it. Put you over there. Go ahead, try it again, Chris.
Oh, okay, hang on.
Hectic. Yeah, tough to see.
No,
You can text it to me.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
It's on the website.
Yeah, I'll send it.
Perfect.
I'm sorry to miss last night's meeting. Was there any discussion about like doing stickers or decals or anything?
We're gonna do, I think we're gonna do round patches.
Okay.
So like a 3.5 inch patch.
Okay.
In full color, I believe, so that people could use it. We'd originally thought that maybe the police and fire could put it on their uniforms, but that's a little bit more complicated to
sure
wear
it
that. So we decided we'd have a patch that was more universal, so that kids could put it on their backpacks or whatever. So yeah, that's gonna be probably not in this first round of order, but it will exist, yeah. And we've got a
On my
couple
knees,
of,
on my jeans.
couple of
Yeah.
artists, yeah, we've got a couple of other artists in town that have volunteered some things. So we've got Ethan Brastad is going to be producing an ornament, hand-blown glass ornament, half of which the proceeds will go to the fire department because he's a firefighter. And then we've got the Women's Club is going to be doing their, typically you've seen the pottery mugs, coffee mugs that they have sold in the past.
Yeah.
So they're going to be doing their coffee mugs. Again, and those proceeds will go to the Women's Club Scholarship Fund.
Good.
So those are a couple separate ones that aren't out yet. But- So we're going to have 2 or 3 iterations of some merchandise that will hopefully carry us through. That's it for now. Thank you.
I just asked him, when I went down to Wilbraham, and it happened in a couple of places that I visited first, they said it was fortuitous that something came off the books in the town in terms of taxes and,
To get this new,
yeah.
to
like,
ask for
and
another bond. We're kind of
Hadley,
off topic
When they were
now.
doing, it's a little off topic, but it's not really. So Hadley did the library and the senior center sort of at the same time, but something big came up. I'm just, do you know?
In terms of our debt? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
In
okay.
terms of debt, is there anything coming off the books?
I think
Give me
we've
some-
got
give me some
everything
hope.
off recently.
Some hope.
No, in fact, we've had to put the new, the bridge on East Street, the Garfield
That's
Bridge
it.
has just come on.
Just
today.
come on, okay.
So, I think we're,
No, huh? Okay.
it'll come up in our budget hearings, but I'm.
I was just hoping
Yeah. and
that you'd say,
I-
oh, yeah, you know.
We're still paying, I think, on this building, quite honestly, the renovation from this.
That's,
So-
yeah. That's-
so a
We're
couple
not on
things
the
are
library
getting-
anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are getting there. I mean, it may be another 2-3 years before they're off. I'm not positive, but in terms of the schedule, I think I hadn't heard that exactly in terms of time frame, but there's not. A lot of the stuff that's on there now are newer things, like the snowplow or something like
Right,
that.
yeah, okay.
Yep. So, yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's something we'll definitely watch out for.
Yeah, I mean-
Absolutely.
that will help.
Yeah.
And then also the senior tax, what was it, what did Scott call it, a home rule?
Home rule.
If we can investigate a little bit of that as well, from a select board standpoint. And I'm going to just back up to number 5, because we probably should vote on those 2 estimates instead of me without a vote. The 10% of the architect and the 10% for the OPM to move forward for the special town meeting. So can we have a motion to agree to
Can I
this?
ask a question before you do that? If we say 10% of ours, so are we just voting on 10% or a dollar value? Because the OPM, if we're combining it to one OPM, then we need to know what the cost estimate is. for
Yeah,
the-
so, yeah, I think it would be vote for 10% of ours. That would be part of that OPM.
Okay.
I don't know how to phrase that, but I know what you're saying, but I don't know if we're gonna, I'll be curious because if both projects are over 30 million and the OPM usually gets 10%, is there
That's a lot.
an advantage of, of doing it
That's-
as one? So yeah, maybe 10% of the costs for the OPM, because I don't want us to agree to hand out 1.2 and then that be more than 50% of the OPM or something, so.
Well, what you do?
And even if you're combining projects, it's easier for them, I believe,
Say that
to
again?
be in. If you're combining the OPM for the
Yeah.
projects, and it's gonna be a total of how many $1 million? $30 million?
Just roughly, you know.
Roughly.
That's $3 million, that's a lot for an OPM,
Okay,
in my mind. Or I think their tasks are, they're not doing double the work.
right.
So,
Well, they're working with 2 different architects, right?
yes.
And
they're running
managing 2 different
RFPs and all
projects.
that, but, yeah, I don't know, just my,
I don't know how you can put a figure on it.
I don't
Yeah, I don't either.
All you're doing, I think, is recommending that for the article
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
I
stick
think
with the
it's a
joint
recommendation.
OPM and the,
So we're not putting a dollar amount in it? I can't.
I don't know
how you can.
I don't know how you can at this point in time. I mean, you're not giving out any money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no money coming from this committee to
Right,
take
right.
from. I mean,
Okay.
you're recommending what the committee's comfortable with.
Okay, I
Maybe
got you.
that.
Yeah, it's not our money to
Yeah, I mean,
recommend, okay.
well, I mean, it's
Well, I mean, it's collective.
collectively, but I mean, you could recommend an up to amount that you feel would be comfortable for this, I suppose, but.
Because this is not coming out of the estate funds. We're
Right, it's not
asking
coming
this
out,
to be
yeah,
paid
yeah.
for out of town
Yeah, no,
funds.
this would be a borrowing that we'd have to do, I'm sure.
So maybe we don't need a motion at this point in time,
No.
we're just sharing with what cost would be approximately at this point in time, because you asked me to give Scott a figure, but I don't know how to do that.
Well, I mean, because that's why I thought you'd gotten that from Andrew, which he may not have heard that yet. So
Okay.
that was all I was thinking, was that if we need to think about 10% of the building cost and another 10% for the OPM, I mean, at least give Scott that information.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
That's what
Yep,
you're
yep.
thinking about. But before we get to that point, I'm sure we'll get back with some
Okay.
detail about what the article could
Okay.
look like.
Right.
I don't know exactly that it needs a vote per se.
Okay,
I mean, I think
good.
there's.
I just didn't want to skip
recommendation
over it
for the-
and go, well, you
No, I think
vote
it's a
on that, yeah.
recommendation for the article that, you know,
Okay.
we
All
just
right.
want to still proceed with that notion of a joint OPM and a separate architecture firm for both. And, you know, I mean, I think the challenge would be, and this is kind of maybe to Libby's question or somebody's question, if, if things at the meeting, if it was presented that way and that, and I guess I'm not assuming that there's a separate article for the OPM
Oh, okay.
and a separate article for the architects. I don't
I
know
thought
that.
that's what it
I
was
do
gonna-
not know
okay.
that.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I don't know if those are two separate articles. I do not know if it's a combined OPM architect article. So
Okay.
that's something that I think Scott, legal, whomever, we need to, you know, still browse through, right?
Quickly.
But I guess, however it is, if during the discussion at town meeting, you're finding a lot of resistance, then you can always amend the motion on the floor and decide to break something off at that point in time. So, but it's not ideal, obviously. You know, I mean, we're trying to present it as a whole project and not pit the two committees
Right.
and the two
Right.
potential, you know, interests against each other. I mean, it benefits everybody, but some people don't always see it that way. So here, Tim, sorry.
Yeah.
So the recommendation from this committee would be that the town move forward and appropriate the necessary funds for hiring an
Right.
OPM and 2 architects. Is that right?
That sounds
Yeah.
good enough, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind
Good
of,
enough, that sounds great.
It's great, Ted.
Best work.
It is superlative. Yeah, so I mean, I think that would be fine if you wanted to take a.
you want to restate that?
I make a motion that this committee make a recommendation at the special town meeting or on the warrant that the town approve the necessary funds to hire an OPM for this project and an architect for each building.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Who seconded?
Darcy. So Jerry, you want to start the vote?
Jerry? Aye.
Darcy, I.
Ted, aye.
Chris, aye.
Kate, I.
Dennis, I.
Janet, aye.
Libby, aye.
You're off this time. So then the articles, they have to be posted by the 8th, which is 2 weeks before the 22nd. Is that what you said, Chris?
I believe so.
So, all right, so if anything changes and we need to scramble for a meeting or anything, we'll try to do that. Okay.
By March 8th?
Yeah, the articles have to be posted by March 8th.
Okay.
So approved
Do
by
we
the
wanna
select
meet
board.
before that?
They have to be voted on by the select board by then, so things will happen much faster than that.
Yeah, we'll have a whole long list of articles, so this is just one of several things that will be on the agenda for the special town meeting.
So they'll have to be submitted prior to the select board meeting on the 4th then?
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah. So that leaves us probably next week if anything changes, because the Thursday after that, while we have the public workshop, we could also meet that day at lunchtime at 12:30 if we needed to, so. Maybe we'll schedule that for that, just to be on the safe side.
For the 27th.
Yeah,
Meet here?
well, yeah,
12:30?
we'll get to that on the next
Yeah, right.
meeting, so,
Yep.
okay. Mine too. Who has anything else to do? Okay, so now, Cindy, thank you for joining us. You're not on the agenda, but I'd like to give you a few minutes to just introduce yourself and
Okay, I'm Cindy.
why are you here?
Well, because this is a really cool thing, and I just happened to be in Westfield and met Sue.
Can't hear you.
Can you speak up? Yeah, you speak very soft.
Okay, sorry. So I'm Cindy, and I just happened to be in Westfield at a music event and met Sue and Joan Linehan, and they started telling me about this really cool project. I didn't really know about the public. You have an enormous project. That's what I just happened to be a fundraiser in my life. I'm not here to be your fundraiser. That's not the conversation. I'm just here because I'm a small town person, which is not as small as this town, and I do capital campaign fundraising, and this will be a great project. And you know, take me out at any time, but I'm not here to do anything. I'm just here to listen and just
Learn.
kind of- And I am. You know, I really and forgive me for trying to ask questions. Karen already knows I like to ask questions. But no, I'm not. I have nothing vested. This isn't my town, but it's really interesting. some of us are seniors, not everybody, and we're all getting older, and we need things like this. I love that you guys are addressing this. I was actually part of the very beginning of the library in Wilbraham's project, as far as what it took to get there, 14 years, whatever, and Bob died. Bob
Yep.
Birch died.
14 years.
Yeah, but it was really neat. It just interests me as a community-minded individual, a volunteer, and someone who might honestly have something intelligent and relevant to say once in a while. Not sure.
Okay, and Cindy was at the Friends meeting, so, which is a good venue for that aspect, so it'll be up to them as to, you know, how much we can engage you and, you know, see what benefits you bring to us. But thank you for stopping in today. And I'm Janet, by the way.
Excuse me.
Francine is the chair of Friends, so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else that wasn't on the agenda? Okay, so next meeting, do we want to meet at 12:30 on the 27th? With cake? No cake.
No cake?
Eat cake.
I'll talk to Francine.
I'm gonna ask my wife to bake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's the baker. So is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are people around that maybe a short meeting, it's really just to address the article? And if
So
something
you
else
will have
comes
had
up,
conversations with Scott before then, and
that's the plan,
that's
and
the
hopefully
plan.
he'll be able to attend. So,
Okay.
227.
This is in person, I mean, at the same place?
Yes, so second floor?
Zoom?
Yes, yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody else is at second floor, Libby's at second floor via Zoom. Because nobody else is gonna volunteer to take the minutes, Libby, so. As long as you're not climbing a mountain somewhere, or,
Not then, I am leaving, we're going to Yosemite, the following week, but no. I'm not
okay,
planning
good,
to
get
go
it in
Yosemite.
before you. Okay, great, so February 27th at 12:30 for a short meeting. If we need to meet about the articles, Dennis and I will talk to Scott, and if we need to do anything, get a vote or anything, we'll have a meeting. If we don't, then we'll look for a little further update, okay? Because I know it's going to be a busy day. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Dennis, move, second.
Second?
Jerry, all in favor? Jerry, you start us again.
Jerry, aye.
Darcy, aye.
Ted, I.
Chris, aye.
Kate, aye.
Dennis, aye.
Janet, aye.
Libby, aye.
Okay.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.